Hajj?
Just was fun. I got to go and see people that I knew from before, and I visited places that I knew what was coming up, and it was just really easy. And by the way, I recommend to folks to get a video about this Hajj and watch it. It's in English, and it's free. And guess whose website you can get it from?
Well, give me a clue.
Ours. If you go to shareislam.com, shareislam, ShareIslam.com, then go down the page. It shows you a lot of websites. And one of the websites that you're looking for here is called watchislam.com. But if you can remember a lot of names, you can also do that. Just remember watchislam.com. Go there, click on the links until you can list all the videos. Then drop down that menu and click list all. Then go to the bottom of that page. You're going to find a video there. Now, I talked about earlier about finding the one on Salat. There's one for Salat, but there's also one there for this Hajj. And it's from the Ministry of Hajj in Saudi Arabia, and it's in English.
Right. One of the issues that I wanted to talk to you about was the issues of segregation, because a lot of people believe in segregation, and segregation is in evidence in most mosques. And the first thing that hits you when you get to Mecca is men and women are praying alongside each other, they're in the company of each other, doing the tawaf. It's a total cocktail of human life. You know, what's the deal?
Okay, first of all, when you start talking about segregation, I was imagining what I grew up with the word. Segregation that I grew up with in the United States, especially in the South, was black and white. So Islam totally and completely forbids that kind of segregation.
No, I'm talking Mars and Venus.
I know, but you made me think, you see. So I'm thinking, Islam forbids one kind and orders another kind, the opposite of this society. Where everywhere we find in the Western society, there's a prejudice toward ethnicity, a prejudice toward race, a prejudice toward color. And if anybody denies that, be careful, they probably deny other things too, you know. The reality is there. Even today, even with so-called freedoms and so on, you still have this ethnicity or racial segregation. Even in places of worship and things like that, you just, let's go with our own kind of a thing. And I want to make sure that you understand that Islam gets rid of that. And this is the place where you will go and find there is no segregation by race or color or ethnicity. You go, you'll see black, brown, yellow, no green. You see all colors are there, everybody. And this is what impressed Malcolm X, by the way, to really become a Muslim when he saw that, and he just backed away.
Well, he ended up praying next to some blonde, blue-eyed man, and
he said, I'd always been taught these guys are a bunch of, you know, devils, and he said, this guy's right next to me, and he's just the same as me. And everybody's the same. That's one of the beautiful parts about this is the ihram state of having those two towels. Everybody's the same. It's no different. Well, anyhow, coming back to this. It is the only place on earth where the men and the women pray standing next to each other, because the Prophet ﷺ made it clear that that was the only place for us to do that. Now, we've had some recent years who said that, well, it looks like we should be able to do that anywhere because it was done then. But that has always been the exception, and they're trying to use the exception to be the rule and pretend like they've discovered something brand new. And in fact, they haven't done anything except cause a problem for themselves. But the basic thing here is to understand that when you're traveling like that, and you've come so far, and if you split a woman from her protection, which is her mahram, and she has no other place to go, what would happen? And that was, you know, before cell phones and things like that. What would happen to this lady? And she has all these people going around. Anything could happen. So it means that even in the salah, you can be next to each other. However, pay attention to this. If Friday comes up while you're there in this sanctuary, which is the haram, and it's time for the Jummah Salah, the regular Jummah Salah, which is performed there. People of Mecca, whether they're in Hajj or not, they've got to come too and perform their Jummah. And in that case, they do divide the women from the men over there. And the Jummah is performed totally separate, just like it is anywhere else on earth, any other Friday.
And I've seen some, I know this is something you can help me with, because I have seen some women wearing a full face veil, a black abaya, and they are directing the women into areas and almost, I don't know if they are Saudi police women or just officials within the mosque to make sure that the women go into certain areas. And I saw them, and they're very distinctive in their black abayas, and I saw them and I thought, I didn't think you could wear a niqab or a full face veil in the haram.
Most likely would never work there. That's a very hard job. It's very rough. Most of the people that are there are expatriates. Okay, just so you know that. If you notice, they also wore black gloves.
Yeah, totally covered.
Yeah, totally covered. But they're not in Hajj. They live there. They work there. So it wouldn't be relative. Even if what you said is true, it wouldn't be relative to them. They work there.
Right. Well, let's clear that one up.
Yeah, but there's a little bit more to go along with that. That these women who are working there doing this, they're trying to facilitate several things at the same time, and one of them is the security. You know, they're watching, but there are women there so that if there are women who are coming through, that it's a woman dealing with a woman instead of a man coming up and telling her, oh, this or that, or touching her or something like that. So this is one of the reasons the women are there, and this is what part of their job is. Another thing, though, you might be surprised to know that any woman who comes there, even if she normally wears a face veil, it's the one place on earth that there is, and time of the year, that there's no question about whether or not somebody can have a face cover. And it's not because of the sanctuary, it's the event, the Hajj. It's throughout the Hajj, not just there at the sanctuary. A woman cannot wear her face veil during that time.
Are you sure about that? I hate to question you.
Cannot wear the face veil during that time. Now wait.
So no niqab, no veil,
Wait a second.
just...
As in everything in Islam, watch for the exceptions to the rule. Exceptions. This is on the authority of Aisha radiallahu anha. Now remember, the wives of the Prophet ﷺ did cover their faces. For them it was fard. Now all the rest of the women on the earth, if they want to wear the face cover, and they do wear it in many places, this is extra points, okay? They get more reward with Allah, and it's certainly a lot safer for them, maybe in some cases, but it is not mandatory. But for the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, it was mandatory. And Aisha radiallahu anha says that even for her, like all the women, they had to remove the face cover, except if a man was too close to them. Any man got close, a rider would come by, they would pull their face cover back down. It's in the hadith, read it. And then when they would leave, they'd raise it back up again. Because during the Hajj, all women must remove their face cover. This proves something else too. It proves that face cover is a part of Islam if a lady would like it. Because otherwise she wouldn't say, and it wouldn't be a rule that you have to remove something that's not there.
But it would be impossible to remove your face veil because the men are everywhere.
This is why you find most of the women today who wear the face veil, they keep it on. My wife keeps it on. Because at that stage, the men are too close. But you have to remember, there was a time when there weren't millions of people doing Hajj, and there weren't millions of men all over the place, and it was easy for a lady to lift her face veil up and so on. But remember, again, it's not mandatory for a woman to wear the face veil. Only for the wives of the Prophet. And this is not my ruling. I'm not making this up. This is the ruling of the majority of all the scholars. There are some who do believe, according to their culture more so, I guess, than anything, or their upbringing, the evidences they have, instead of making it something which is, it's called sunnah mu'akkada, which is highly stressed. That's the most you should say about it. But not that it's wajib or fard, because if you said that, you have to have a clear proof. And the clearest proof that we can get for it would be from the Quran, and there's nothing in the Quran that says cover the face. What it says in the Quran, in Surah An-Nur, this is usually the verse people go to, verse 31, it says for them, the women, to lower their gaze guard their private parts, and then it tells them to lower something else. Lower their khimar. You're wearing something almost like khimar now. That purple thing on top of your regular hijab is similar, like they used to have something hanging down the back, like off of a ponytail area, and then they would drop it down over the front, over Juyubihinna. That's what it said in the Quran. Juyubihinna actually refers to this area right in here, covering your chest area. So this is why they flopped it down like this, and it would have covered your face if you did exactly what it says. But there isn't anything that says you couldn't open it up to be able to see. Okay? Now, Aisha radiallahu anha makes a dua for a prayer, a supplication, for the women who, when they heard this, that they tore their aprons. They were wearing an apron over their skirt. They tore this thing and put it up over their heads and covered their faces. Cover their heads and their faces. This is what it says in Hadith. This is in Sahih Bukhari, volume 6, chapter 280, 202, Hadith number 282. That's where you'll find that. And it's very clear that she was making dua because they did it, but she didn't say all the women had to do it.
Why did the wives of the Prophet, peace be upon him, have to cover up and the other women didn't?
Well, all the women have to cover in Islam, yes. But to what extent? Because his wives stayed behind veils, even curtains and things. Even Aisha, when she taught, when she taught Islam, she was behind a curtain in her house all the time. But this is because they were his wives. And this is his right. Allah is giving him this, that other people don't get to eyeball his wives. That's not right. And they're going to be with him in paradise, and all of them, by the way, they were happy with this too. None of them, they had the right, according to the Quran itself. If you don't want to do it, you can break and run. If you don't want to be married to him anymore, go ahead and go. But none of them opted for that, to seek the fun of this world. They wanted to have the pleasures of the next world. But in any case, to come back to the face covering in Hajj, it is a requirement not to cover your face, except if a man can get too close to you, and that means you would ordinarily cover your face. In your case, you don't ever wear it, do you? Have you ever worn it? No? Okay. Well, then it wouldn't be of any concern to you, because you shouldn't put it on for that, because it's told you not to do it anyway.
No, but it's still of interest, because I was told that women who wear niqab don't have to wear it when they perform Hajj, and yet I saw some women wearing a face veil or the niqab, and I'm thinking, well, this is opposite to what I've been taught, and it's very, very confusing as a new Muslim to work out, well, what is right and what is wrong, and
this is what it is. The ladies feel like that these men are too close to me, and I want to continue to cover my face, and so I do.
You mentioned something before, prayer, dua, and I really want to discuss that as well, because these aren't ordinary prayers in Mecca, or, well, we haven't even got to Medina, but we're going to take a break. Please do stay with us, and we'll see you shortly. Assalamu alaikum.
We're talking about one of three things, actually, because the English language is so weak, it doesn't provide you with a way to really translate what we're talking about. Prayer, as it's understood to most folks in English, it means to put your hands together and say, oh, God, help me. Well, in Arabic, that's called dua. In dua, you raise your hands, Allah, help me, and help the folks, and make us good people, and so on, forgive us. And this is dua. But then we have something else, and this is mentioned in the Bible. It says, pray unceasingly. Well, there's no way you could stand in Salah all the time or stand with your hands like this all the time. And that's referring to praying to God in your heart all the time, thinking about God, being God